Hello, my name is Elena Granzi, and here is my presentation on managing textile collections for my fall class 8-8-10. The two major ways organizations such as this, museums, archives, private collections, acquire items is either through purchase or donation. And while there is a myriad of fine print ways that an item is assessed before it is considered, here are the major factors that are looked at before it is accepted. First up, the condition and cleanliness of the object. Is it something that is going to require extensive repairs and maintenance? Is it going to have to be sent off to a conservation lab before it can even be put into storage or on display? The design value or how unique it is relative to other objects in the collection. Is this something that they have several similar examples already in the back? Or is this something that they don't have anything in common with, that this doesn't really fit their organization's values and would be better off somewhere else? The potential use for learning or exhibition. This one is more focused at museums or places that have display, but how much learning value is this? Is this something that their patrons are going to be interested in seeing or examining? The significance to history. Items with a greater significant value will of course be more valuable to a museum, archive, or collection. Is this something that was involved in local, national, or international history, depending on the scope and breadth of the museum in question? How much space will be required to store the item in question, and how well the organization could handle the storage of this item? Is it going to require any particular techniques or maintenance? Will it require to be kept at a much colder temperature than other items? Some things regarding furs need to be kept in a refrigerator, whereas other textiles do not. Overall design quality, including the material used and/or construction techniques. How valuable inherently is this item? Is it made from high quality materials? Is it well made? Are these things that people are going to be interested in learning about, preserving past history? And then one that many museums, archives, and collections are very interested in is the ownership history of this item. Who made it? Where is it from? What is its history? How did it come to be here? Supporting materials such as photographs. If it's an article of clothing, do we have any pictures of it being worn in the past? Do we have journal entries? Is it a quilt that has been made from family members' clothing? Do we know about those items? These are all things that really increase an article's value to collections, museums, and other such organizations. A large part of preservation for these items is storage. And of the storage, there's two major factors: environmental and physical. Environmental storage regards the heat, moisture, airflow, and light that is available to reach these items. Textiles do best when they are kept in a cool environment with low moisture, plenty airflow, and minimal to no light. Heat and moisture encourage mold and insects such as moths and beetles that would eat and degrade these materials. Lots of historic dyes are especially susceptible to things such as light, and airflow really prevents anything from settling and taking on growing within the storage facility. And furthermore, once you have the correct environment set up, the way to store items is in boxes, on rollers, mounting, or hangers. These are the most common ways to store textiles. For boxes, you want to keep items, general textiles, as flat as possible with as few folds as possible. Where folds are unavoidable, it is really important to prevent creases from forming. This can either be done by padding them out using acid-free tissues, or by, if the item is capable of undergoing this, by frequently or semi-frequently going in and readjusting to make sure that no creases are forming that can cause fabric to break apart. For boxes, it's important to choose the type and size of the box that best fits your textile. They should be made whenever possible out of acid-free materials and then lined with a material specifically for whatever textile you're putting it in, either buffered tissue for undyed cellulosic fibers or unbuffered tissue for silk, wool, and certain dyed textiles. And then washed cotton sheeting is also a really good option to line these internal boxes. First, you have to lay the lining across the bottom of the sides of the box and then put the item in the box and then fold the lining over it. This is a really good way to prevent possibly caustic dyes or other dangerous materials that can interfere with each other from coming in contact. Exceedingly large items, such as carpets or tapestries, should not be put in boxes, but rather should be very carefully rolled around an acid-free center core, and then can be hung on that roller, wrapped up in storage. For exceedingly fragile items or very small items, they should be mounted on a map with a window frame, which can ensure that they are not excessively handled or lost. Hangers should only be used for garments and only in circumstances where such a garment is unsound or very heavy should they be put in boxes, because they are three-dimensional and are at higher risk for creasing or damaging if they're put in boxes. Hangers should always be padded, and additional support can be added by the implementation of sewing in a waist tape and suspending straps to take the weight off the shoulders of a garment that might be enduring undue strain. For display, there are two contrasting perspectives that need to be taken into account before an item can go up for display, and they are stability and value. For stability, it is very important to concern textiles. How fragile is this textile? Will any type of light cause the dyes in this textile to really quickly degrade? Is this something that should be kept in low light? Is this something that should be kept away from all possible windows? Will it require special handling or installation? Can this be put on a padded mannequin if it's a garment, or will it require laying flat, or will it need to be hung in some other manner? And then value, how important is it to display? What benefits does it have as a learning object? Is this something patrons are going to want to come and see, either to discuss how it was made, its history, or any other such items? Is it nice looking? Is this something that is a good example of its type? If it's a garment, is it a good example for its time period? Is it well made for its time period? Does it bring information about its time period or its history? And once again, is it unique? Is this something that is a specialty item in your collection that does not have a lot of contemporary pieces available? Is it something that has specific value, either in its history? Was this involved in something important historical? Both of these are very important topics that needed to be discussed before an item can ever go on display. And then here is my works cited. And here are my 2 questions. First off, the most common limiting factor of museums and collections when it comes to acquisitions is the lack of available space and resources to take care of items. Also, the oldest items are usually the most fragile and in the worst state, requiring extra resources to take care of. How would you balance the old and resource-intensive items versus a greater number of newer/more stable items if you were in control of a collection like this? Would you divert more resources and space towards carefully preserving these more unique items, or would you sacrifice being able to house some of these items if it meant a greater number of items in general? Then number 2, the best ways to prevent the major damages to textiles are environmental control, by controlling the humidity, heat, light, and airflow. If there was one of these that you could not be able to control, which would it be and why? Thank you very much, and have a good day.